Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the East Montgomery County Improvement District's Board of Directors. Today is Thursday, September the 14th, 2017. If you will please stand, we will begin with the prayer and the pledge. Director West will lead us in the prayer and Director Zepeda in the pledges. Thank you.
Let's bow our heads. Father, we just thank you so much for this day you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the beautiful weather. Lord, we just thank you for the community we live in and how they came together in our tragedy of this flood, Lord. We just ask you for direction in our meeting tonight, Lord, that every decision will be made with your honor and your glory, Lord. We thank you for everything you give for us and what you have in store for us for the future. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take the pledge. Honor to Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the United States, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Good, man. You got a cue.
Texas strong.
The first item on our agenda this evening is comments from the audience, and we have two people signed up to speak. First, Miss Melissa. Is your last name is Purple?
That's correct.
Good. If you'll come up to the podium, and if you'll just check and make sure that green light is on the microphone.
I'm pretty loud, I'm pretty sure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Herpel, and I'm a nurse practitioner, and I'm also the owner of Express Family Clinic. We have 2 locations, one in Spring, which got 4 feet of water, thank you, Harvey, and also in Conroe. Here today just to tell you thank you very much for coming to me with the idea of putting a clinic here in this area. We're a clinic that specializes in taking care of patients who are underserved and patients who don't have insurance, patients who really just need help and don't have any other way to get it. Our office visit is a flat fee. It's $50. We don't do appointments. Anybody who needs care will get care from my office. That's the way that we've done things. That's the way that we're going to continue to do things, and we can't wait to serve East Montgomery County at the same time. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you very much. Next is Liz Mullane. We don't know who you are. Welcome, Miss Liz.
Thank you. I'm Liz Mullane from the city of Urban Forest. And as you are all aware of the flood, last year when we flooded April and May, the pool set up nice and pretty, and you saw the blue water and the brown water on the outside of it. This year, we got 4 foot of water in our pool house, so the pool, the splash pad, everything was covered. And homes that hadn't flooded before got water in them. So our maintenance department has been working real hard at cleaning up the area and getting all the debris out. And we started working on the splash pad, and he had to replace some of the caulking because it came up. And he had to clean out the containment where it holds the water underneath the ground. And started the pumps up today, and they're howling. You can hear them from the street. You can hear them all over the place. And he called Craftsman and talked to the Craftsman guy who was responsible for the installation and said, yes, you're going to need a new motor. It's still running as we speak, just to see if it'll quieten down overnight, but I kind of doubt it. So we don't know what that cost is going to be. We're estimating around $1,500. We can't clean our pool out or start our pool up until the water table goes down, because we have to drain the entire pool to clean it and then refill it. So we won't know about that for another couple of weeks or so. But I was going to ask EMCID if, and I know you can't speak to me back or make a decision tonight because it's not on the agenda. We're going to claim all this on FEMA. And we're also going to claim it on our insurance, but our insurance deductible for flood insurance is $25,000. So I don't know if we're going to quite meet that or not. We're going to turn around and claim it on FEMA. But if the expense gets a little bit too high, if we could ask for a loan until we get the FEMA money's reimbursed. So I just wanted to kind of put that idea in your head for a future agenda item if that needs to be. We don't know what the cost is going to be yet, but if it's too much that our budget won't hold it right now, that's what we may be asking.
Thank you.
Okay.
I also wanted to just state, I didn't see it firsthand because I've been dealing with my own stuff, but I saw pictures of you out cleaning the area, and I want to thank you because that's not your job, but that's your heart.
Well,
And I appreciate you
I appreciate that.
getting out the green.
I've put a lot of work into that park area from 5 years ago to today, so I wanted to get it cleaned up. And our entire staff worked 24 hours, 4 days a week during the storm and many hours after that to get it cleaned up. So our police department, our maintenance crew, everybody just poured their heart to get. And when FEMA actually drove through and came and visited our office, they had an appointment with another city and they were at the wrong place, but they said, wow, your boulevard looks like nothing happened except the house on the side that still has the garbage piled up. But that's because of our maintenance department and their hard work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Okay. The next item is going to be the approval of the minutes from the meetings July 31st, August 10th, and September the 4th of 2017. So we would need a motion to approve those. Motion by Director Wetz and a second by Director Zepeda. Is there any discussion regarding those minutes?
One of the things I just wanted to get some clarification was in regards to the emergency service groups that might come in and ask for funding. I thought we had talked about maybe waiving the requirement for the match, and I just want to make sure we were straight on that and to make sure we had that clarified in the minutes. So I don't know if we talked through that enough, but just wanted to make sure. I thought we did, but it didn't get picked up in the minutes, and I just don't want to put that in there unless you guys, if that's what we talked through.
David, would we need a motion to make sure that, because as far as I'm concerned, no matches, and I think
Is
the
that
board
correct?
was,
I just wanna
I
make
think
sure.
the board was all on the same page.
What I had in my notes was that they waived the one time per year application, and they waived the one related entity exception. So in other words, the police department in the city, for the same city could apply. But I didn't have my notes.
And we also did the
The
deadline, we did waive the deadline also.
Yeah, it was for 1 year.
Yes,
It's
yes,
1 year.
okay.
But I didn't have anything in my notes about matching.
Because I know that was my intention, and I believe it was the intention of the entire board. If we need a separate motion, should we make a motion with that?
Well, I mean, if that's what the board agrees that was what was in the motion, we can just amend that part of the minutes. Is that the 17th?
Yeah.
Did we put a limit on that or not?
No.
We think, I think what we said was they're going to do 100,000 in the fall and 100,000 in the spring, set aside specifically for emergency service groups.
Right.
So we picked a number, and that's kind of the number that we came up with, and that's how we were proceeding with it.
Did any of the board have any other intentions as far as matching for the match? Yeah, that was my impression anyway, that's what okay. Okay. Leonard, are you good with that? And Stevie as well? Okay, yes, if you would just make that a change, David, in the minutes to include,
So we would basically add a number 6, which would be to waive match requirements.
Yes.
Match requirement.
thank you. Any other discussion regarding the minutes? Okay, if not, all in favor of approving the minutes with that inclusion? Unanimous, thank you. The next item is from the bookkeeper, Ms. Kay. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. You should have your supplemental bookkeeper report in front of you. And as always, it's just the time from your last report until today. If you turn over to page 2, you have your account balances. In your operating account, you have $2,884,592.86. Capital projects, $96,125.01. Debt service, $858,219.34. And in the reserve, $1,040,667.46. In your events account, $76,692.24 for a total of all funds of $4,956,296.91. The next page is just to update the money market total from your last report. And if you'll turn over to page 5, that shows you the actual transaction that changed that number. There was a deposit into your hotel motel account. Page 6 is your cash flow. You had a balance forward of $179,774.44, receipts of $745,689.27, which included your sales tax for the month. You have disbursements, checks number 14,473 through 14,508, totaling $336,748.96, leaving $588,714.75 in the checking account. The next pages are your budget versus actual. The only changes there, again, are the checks that you signed tonight. Then on page 10, page 10 is your debt service. You had an interest payment there, so you had a balance forward of $363,264.71, interest of $542.55 from a CD that matured. That left $363,807.26 in that account. Page 11 is your sales tax revenue history in chart form, and that shows the sales tax that you received since the report on Friday. Then we have your summary of pledged securities for the next 2 pages and your debt service on the last page. And that is all of the supplemental report. If you have any questions on this report or the original report, I'd be glad to answer those for you.
Anybody have any questions for Kay? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now we'll take a motion to approve and pay the bills. And we have a motion by Director Carlisle and a second by Director Pearson. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. Okay, the next item is regarding economic development grants.
On the first one, or actually the first 2, nothing to report on there. Is we're going through getting the documents drawn up and coordinating with our recipients to get the right language included in that. With TANAs, we've not received $12.95 yet. As you heard earlier with Melissa Herpel, we've been working with her for probably about 3 months, trying to convince her that this is the right place to be for her growth and expansion. They were featured on, was it Channel 2 or was it 11?
Channel 2 and Channel 11.
Yeah, so we kind of picked up that information when the news station went out to visit her clinic, and certainly like that model that's proposed. I really wish Dale was here tonight, because Dale was very interested in how her model is and how he sees it would be received by the teachers within the districts. His comments related back to he felt that it could make our school districts more competitive in recruiting teachers to come here if there's an adequate safety net in regards to healthcare accessibility with using her model, as opposed to if you have a family, your premium is about $1,400 at the school district. So instead of opting in for a family coverage, you could probably utilize a clinic for, when your kid has strep and you've got a sprained ankle, and you go get your Z. Everybody's got to go get a Z-Pack at least once a year, it seems like. So those kind of things, it feels like it fills that void in regards to, it might give some teachers an opportunity that they wouldn't have to take that plan through the schools, and it would make them more competitive in recruiting. Was kind of Dale's thoughts on that. So once again, I think he did some surveying with the teachers in Splendora in regards to that, and it was very well received by the teachers. And so with that, we pursued trying to find a site in Valley Ranch, which was acceptable. And one of the things that we talked about was in regards to Melissa making her transition over here. Some of the things that they're currently doing, they typically have about roughly about 30 a day in Conroe as far as patient numbers, sometimes 50, 60 a day in their spring location, roughly. And the ultimate goal is, coming to East Montgomery County is about 50 patients a day. And looking at the demographics that we have, the large school districts that we have. Certainly, she wouldn't make this decision if it wasn't a good decision for her business. We think it's a good decision to bring an alternative type of healthcare to our area and make it more affordable for those, even if it's not the teachers. We've got a lot, and y'all know the community, just like everyone else. We've got a lot of folks that don't have any insurance. But if I know I can go there and pay $50 and pay nothing else, I'm feeling pretty comfortable that at least I know my family's needs are met in regards to that. So, and secondly, her business model, if you think about it, the doctors are always looking for the reimbursements from the insurance companies. At the end of the day, when she's finished with business, she's not trying to go collect from the insurance companies, and her money's not out there. It's coming in 60 or 90 days. So from an accounts receivable standpoint, she doesn't have receivables that she's trying to go chase down like a lot of doctors and other clinics are. She's dealing on a daily basis from that financial model. So we think that's something different, and there was a reason that those news stations were at her clinic, kind of highlighting what she does is something different, and I think would be well received by our community. Working with our developers at Valley Ranch, Signorelli has proposed a lease. Obviously, Valley Ranch is an entity where the dollar per square foot is very high. And so what we would propose to do is offset some of that rent for the first 3 years. And we initially looked at a 5-year period with a lower initial incentive, but we think front loading an incentive and then it going away after 3 years works better for her from the model that she wants to talk about. And then secondly, she didn't mention this earlier, but for the first year, she's very excited about this if you see her smiling. For the first year, she would like to offer all the educators and teachers a 50% discount if they utilize her clinic.
Outstanding.
So I think we got a great partner in our community and someone that cares how they want to provide health care for our community in the future. And that was one of the things that we talked through today. So what we'd like to propose is looking at providing $40,000 a year for 3 years. Each year, $40,000 to offset some of the rent. And then by that time, she should have a good client base established. And then during that first year, she's offered to provide services to the educators in our area for half off the visit. So it'd be $25 visit instead of $50 visit. I didn't get that wrong, did I?
No, you didn't.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that they're doing also is she'll have 1 nurse practitioner and she'll have 3 medical assistants. Am I correct in that? So they have 4 employees. And then we would like for those employees to be hired from within our district. So looking at that, we feel that's very doable in regards to the employment perspective and creating those jobs in the district also. And then with that, I think that kind of wraps up what our ideas were. And we just felt it was a really good fit, and it's something different that not a lot of communities have. And it's something that we would like to have in our community. So that's kind of what we're proposing to do based on y'all's approval.
Okay. So we would need a motion to approve that,
I'll move.
Brent? Okay.
Do we, before you go, do we have, is this, what's the name of the company?
It's NP Clinic.
Actually, no, it's KM
KM
Express Care
Express?
Services.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we've got this whole thing covered.
We've got, yeah, I just want to make sure that was the same one.
Okay.
So it's not NP Clinic.
No.
No, it's KM Express Care Services LLC.
Okay.
Where's that going to be at?
It's going to be located in Valley Ranch. Melissa, have you all decided on an exact site? Is it by Five Guys?
It's gonna actually be it's gonna be that next section that they're building out on
Yeah.
Five Guys. It's gonna be like where the mattress firm is, where the Wells Fargo is going, so it's gonna be right in that area.
It's further this way,
A little
correct?
closer
It's
this
the
way.
next section, you know, from this section they're building now, it's the next section coming this way.
Yes.
So that's what she's going to do.
So we have a motion by Director Pearson, a second by Director Carlisle, so it was open for discussion to get that. I do have a question.
Yes.
I just want, just for confirmation. As a nurse practitioner, you can do everything except write a prescription for Schedule 3 drugs. Is that
Schedule
correct?
2 drugs.
Schedule 2.
Correct.
Okay. Or Schedule 3? Can you do?
I can do Schedule 3.
You can do 3, just not 2. Okay.
So
But
now-
all the other services would be covered.
Correct, yes.
I just want to make sure that that's out there, so
Yes.
for verification for anybody who may not know.
Right, yeah, Schedule 2 medications, in case you're curious, are things like ADHD medications like Ritalin and Vyvanse, and then also pain medications like Norco, hydrocodone. I do not write for any of those medications. I do not treat chronic pain, period.
Perfect. Anybody else have questions? I just have a comment. Of course, with your local community college not too far away, with one of the largest nursing programs around and other healthcare programs, we would love to be a resource for you.
Oh, absolutely, and I would love to take advantage of those resources as well.
Okay, any other discussion?
You gotta drink the water first.
You gotta drain the water first. There she
That
does.
was very nice.
All right, all in favor of approving the grant as stated? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item we have is George Nichols. He's not quite complete. His home and his family's home are totally gone due to the flood. So I think I'll bring this back to you guys at the next board meeting to address the needs. Basically what they're wanting to do is to enclose the porch area at Nichols. If you've driven by, you kind of know there's a front porch. They want to enclose that. He's got some other needs that they're utilizing, and we're going to put together a package in regards to a grant for him hiring some more employees, and then also a loan package from the Economic Development Corporation. But I think we need to kind of regroup with him and see what his needs are. Certainly he's got, personal needs he needs to take care of right now instead of business needs, and we're kind of giving him some time to take care of that. So in regards to that, I'll bring that one back to you next month, and we'll get him approved. That's number E,
That's 4.
4E. That's Nicole's Italian Restaurant out on 1314. Okay. The last project we have is Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware has purchased a tract of land next door to Adaptive Developmental Therapies, if you know Cheston's building, where he's currently located at. So they've now purchased that site. What they're looking at doing is they're going to start out with about 12 employees. We're looking for them to hire at least 6 of those employees from our district. So 6 of the 12 will be required to be hired from within the district. Typically, they do about 1.3 million a year in sales for a smaller ACE floor plan like what they're looking at doing. What our proposal is to provide half cent sales tax rebate, providing that he always maintains 50% or more of his employees that reside within the improvement district boundary. So at least half of his employees at all times need to be from within the district boundary, and that would be for initial 5-year period for that sales tax rebate program for them. And they're initially starting out with about 15,000 square feet. They've purchased 5.5 acres. We want them to start construction by this February, and then be open within 1 year of their start of construction. So once again, another hardware store in our community is certainly a great thing, and providing those type of jobs and another resource for our community to utilize is kind of some of the things that we looked at for that project. So ACE, I don't want to say ACE is the place, I'd be advertising, but y'all know the song. So in any event, that's the proposal that we'd like to engage with for ACE to locate in our community.
We don't have the total, $95.
I think we do.
I don't have the
Do
total.
we not?
Let me repeat, let me change that. I don't have the total.
Okay. We can look at that after executive session. How about that?
We'll come back to that item.
All right.
Okay, we'll defer until after executive session. Okay?
Easy enough?
Easy enough. I'll put a star by that so I don't forget. Next item is the selection for the Outstanding Citizen Award.
And once again, if you guys, you provided me the input, and I've informed you who our selectee is. Would you like to publicly announce that this evening, or would you like to wait until the event?
Wait until the.
You like to wait until the event? Okay, I just want to clarify that. So we will make that announcement and selection at our event. Just want to make sure that we were clear on that. But you all know who our selectee is, and we will do that at our event that evening. Okay?
Any announcements? I have an announcement. Well, not really an announcement. I would like to thank you, Frank, and your staff for the outstanding job at the Back to School Bash. I think timing was perfect because it was very, very much needed. I appreciate all y'all's hard work. And I'm so thankful that y'all went through, that we went through with it. I think the community really, really needed it, just as a break from all the bad that happened. But I just want to thank you. done an outstanding job.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I want to thank Frank and the board for allowing Lone Star College Kingwood to bunk out here. We were able to get back two of our 9 facilities on Monday. And so we now have fencing up around all the contaminated buildings. But we will be open for classes on the 25th. Oddly enough, our enrollment is up 5% over this time last fall. We don't know if it's because students aren't reading their email and social media and seeing the TV and all the ads to tell them what happened, and they still, or they're still committed to coming, because we've had all of our faculty contact students and say, this is not going to be a face-to-face class, it's either going to be online, or it's moved here, or it's moved there. So we think next week will be crazy, but right now, things are good, and thank you to the EMCID board members and Frank for giving us a home to stay for a while.
Absolutely.
So one of the thing, if y'all would pass to 5, there's 5, there you go. If you'd pass that down, I just want to kind of give you a recap in regards to what we're doing with, you may have seen the EMCID Cares caravan running around. So once again, this kind of gives you a schedule in regards to what we're doing with that. And you're just down there. So just to let you know, our district has been broken apart into 6 different zones. If you see zone numbers 1 through 6 on the left-hand side, and if you scoot over into the separate columns, you'll see the weeks, the dates and the weeks that those communities will be served meals. Once again, we have a hot lunch and a hot dinner that's provided to our communities, and those communities identified, as you see there, Cumberland 1485 area, Kings Colony, River Ridge, Wood Branch, Roman Forest, Patton Village, Glendora, and then particular streets that identified that they've had numerous issues with housing needs, and just taking care of the basic needs in regards to residential housing. So that van has been out for a couple of days, and we'll go out again tomorrow. So at least you'll see the schedule. It's a revolving schedule, so as we finish on a Friday, you scoot over to the next week, and it picks up following that on the next Monday, and continues to revolve. So it's a revolving schedule that we hit all these communities with, once again, just an opportunity to get some warm food, instead of a bologna sandwich, just something that can, once again, maybe make your day a little bit nicer and brighten up your experience that you're in.
Does that include the very back of Roman Forest?
Yes, Kings Colony's in.
Yeah, and once again, I asked Stephen to come in. We sat down, and he identified particular streets in the back of Roman Forest that certainly had some needs, and so appreciate that assistance. Also met with Constable Hayden last week in regards to kind of what their experiences are. So I tried to incorporate all that information into the targeted areas that we have on here. Again, it may not be perfect, so if you see some other areas that you think we need to be reaching out into in regards to this, let us know, and we'll incorporate that into our delivery schedule. Basically, they're going to these communities and feeding individuals from 11 to 1, and then the evenings from 5 to 7. So that's kind of what our ultimate goal is, to catch individuals during that time. We have had some folks, typically what we're serving right now is an entree and 2 sides. Today we had a few requests for us also to bring water and then a dessert. So I think we're gonna dessert is very important. So we may be talking to Sam's to see if once again they may want to partner with us, or Academy, if they like to provide some water. Maybe Sam's can do some desserts, and we'll throw those on the truck and get those out to folks as well. So again, I think it's just an opportunity to reach out in our community and get into our communities in regards to providing some assistance that certainly they need during this time.
And I'll tell you this, we had an EDC meeting today at 1, and when I got back to my house to go on and continue, some of my neighbors came over and said, guess who fed us today? And they said it was EMCID, and they were very, very thankful to, and of course, everybody's been thankful for all the people that have gone road to road and street to street. I know Key Life was on my street every single day. Yeah, and in the evenings, yes, they came back in the evenings too. And the outpouring from the community has just been incredible.
I had a question. I mean, I was talking to Fred about that earlier. I mean, are they working in conjunction with each other so you don't get the same spot with dinner?
With,
I don't know where they're going. I know this afternoon we were there at 3:45 and we had 150 meals from now. We're just serving from our church, is just serving supper now. We're not doing breakfast and lunch. They stopped that this week. And it's coming to the point that a lot of the people are getting back home and they're trying to return to normal life in their house. And in fact, I think they went out with 175 last night. They came back with 12. The people said, hey, we cooked tonight. We don't need it. Give it to someone that needs it. And tonight we sent out 150 meals.
I'm just saying, I mean, if they're both going to the same area,
again, what we've done is try to cover different areas of our district, and we're getting feedback from our vans. So they're telling us, hey,
Yeah, they'll know.
yeah, and it's not like just go out there and do what you want to do willy-nilly. No, they're reporting back and saying, well, look, this is the area that we also had these streets we went to also. And again, if we get to the point, we'll manage it in regards to trying to not be wasteful, but at the same time reach out to the community. And if we get to the point where folks are saying we're not interested at this point, we'll pull back and look at some other communities. One example was, I think yesterday we were in Patton Village. And I think the chief there asked us not to go down into Patton Village because Salvation Army was there. So we pulled back from Patton Village and we went and looked at some other streets in Wood Branch and other places. So again, we're, that coordination effort, when you talk about church coordination, we have one of the individuals when you talk about Fred's Church, one of the individuals from Fred's Church is one of the supervisors in the van. So they already know they've already been out, and it helps having individuals from our community in those vans, and we have people inside those vans that live in our community and know our community in regards to who needs what. So it helps in that regard. Is it a perfect system, Martin? No. But, once again, we'll manage it for the next few weeks, and if it gets to the point where it's not necessary, we'll shut it off. But right now, people have been very appreciative. And clearly, we got feedback today, they want dessert. So we're gonna get them some dessert.
One more thing, I think you and I talked about, the manager from Academy asked me about, he wanted to get Academy involved in something to do with the community, to clean up a park or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, Whack and I talked about that maybe we could send some of the Academy employees wearing Academy shirts and let them help distribute the meals. And I talked to Jerry today, and he said that if we can put a list about volunteer list in the break room to where let some of the employees volunteer
Okay.
to do that.
Yeah, if they'll just let us know, all we gotta do is throw them on the truck. Because if we have an Academy employee on the truck, then they won't bring one of their employees.
Right.
And, once again, it helps them from that perspective. And at the same time, if we got a community partner that wants to work with us, we love that. And getting the name out in the community is obviously, that's what the goal is with the Academy, but we're thrilled to have the assistance there and the help and to get that stuff out to our community.
Yeah, I also mentioned to Frank that maybe we could talk to Phil at Kroger and talk to Taylor and Sam. They may want to jump on this a little bit.
Right.
And Frank, would you, for anybody that may not know, of course the board is, would you just touch on EMCID's involvement in the outreach to the community?
Yeah, immediately following the hurricane, obviously you have those first 24 hours, and I just look at what we've done with being in the military in the past, and just try to parallel that model in regards to putting together a response team to go out and assist the community. I'd certainly like to say thank you, Martin. You were there, Fred. You were there, Stephen. You helped out, Leonard. You helped. You were busy reconstructing, so we understand that. And you came a few days, but your priority should have been on your own stuff, and you were there a few days, and thank you. Again, we had several board members that came in and helped in regards to taking food to the shelter at Bull Salas. It didn't only incorporate taking food to Bull Salas. We went out to Peach Creek Baptist Church. We went up to First Baptist Church in Splendora. We went up to Walter's Church, is it High Point, we went up to High Point. We got to the shelter in Roman Forest. Davina did an outstanding job. Liz, once again, I saw you everywhere. But you know what? Your hair, you had a hair day. I'm just telling you, okay? You're looking good tonight, but I think one of those days I saw you had a hair day, and I probably did too.
It felt good with your hair again.
but it was okay. You know, we were doing what we needed to be doing, going out and helping our community. So again, our outreach once again was, fortunately, we had some big trucks with Fred and Martin that could get us through a little bit of the knee-deep water. It wasn't testy, but we did get there. And for those of you that aren't familiar, we have an individual that's purchased a place at our industrial park, Hoger Bootseller, and he's sitting out there. He was with us 3 days of his own personal time. And again, we absolutely have to say thank you, Holger, because you were a great asset and resource for us. So thank you very much for your assistance in our community. And all I had to do to call you, and you were there with your trailer and muscles. You're muscled up, man. So thank you for all that help. So again, our efforts were coordinated with Commissioner Clark. You know, if Jim had a need or something, he would give us a call, and it was kind of inherent on us to respond. So that would include anything from, you know, we had an individual that we had no clothes that would fit them at all at the shelter. They were just too large. And so, you know, those kind of crises come up, and, you know, you reach out and you solve those problems. You know, initially with the shelter, we didn't have enough cots. So we went and bought every cot that there was available in East Montgomery County. We took it to the shelter. So those kind of things you just do for your community, and that's just part of being East Montgomery County. And I think, again, you know, you can go on with all these stories and successes and stuff, but I think that's just part of who we are. East Montgomery County is reaching out, helping each other. And it's unfortunate it takes a tragedy to bring everyone together, but once again, you really see the best in people in the worst of times. So it was a great experience to see our community come together like that and reach out and help each other. So those of y'all that helped out, thank you very much. And I may not have mentioned everyone, but I really appreciate the time, because it was certainly a time of need that we needed to get out and help our fellow man.
And Kelly did a very good job of keeping it on Facebook
Absolutely.
and social media.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people who didn't have internet service and stuff, but
Yeah.
so that's why I wanted to ask you to touch on it. But outstanding job, Kelly, for keeping it in the media.
Could I say something about that? You know, well, it was a very serious time, but on our first trip to Roman Forest, and y'all probably don't even know this happened. Davina goes to church with me, and she was kind of running their evacuation place there, and she came right up to me after we had unloaded everything and got right up in my face and said, "We need toilet paper." And I said, "Davina, I will try my best to get back here." It took me 4 hours. She said they were very tight.
And then there was a second time.
But funny things happen.
Right.
We were glad to be able to come in and take care of it.
I just want to give Academy a little plug here. I mean, anything that we bought, their cots, air mattresses, socks, anything that we bought, they were real cooperative, and they can use my 20% discount. So that helped a lot.
Sure did.
And once again, it was just a situation where our stores were opening up. They didn't have their full staffing there, but they knew that our community needed things. And once again, I appreciate Academy, Sam's, Kroger's, all those guys that were opening up for us to go out and at least get those products to the communities that were looking for stuff.
Well,
So
and they're part of the community too, so that was their involvement, and it's very much appreciated. So, all right. Anything else? Okay, if there's nothing else, we will recess to executive session to discuss real property matters pursuant to section 551.072 Texas Government Code, pending or contemplated litigation pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code, matters in which the duty of the attorney to the district under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with chapter 551 Texas Government Code pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code and economic development negotiations pursuant to section 551.087 Texas Government Code, and we are in recess at 6:40.